Hello, I'm Laura Marshall.
And I'm Melinda Rose, and this is Light Matters for November 7th, 2012.
On today's show, photons are observed as both particles and waves, see-through science gets unscrambled, light's knotty problem is uncovered, and we bring you some notable business news.
It is well known that photons can act like waves or particles depending on how they are measured, but they have never been seen exhibiting both behaviors at the same time until now. Two new studies appearing in Science use different approaches to simultaneously measure the morphing of light from wave to particle, something that could reveal light's true nature. Both approaches are derived from a classic experiment first proposed by John Wheeler in the 1980s. His experiment theorized that the act of observing a photon is what ultimately determines whether it will behave as a particle or a wave. A University of Bristol team devised a new test based on Wheeler's original experiment to measure the particle and wave nature of light at the same time. They used a quantum beam splitter to entangle a single second photon with a single first photon. Performing a measurement on the second photon can decide what kind of measurement is done on the first, and in the process it lets the researchers explore the continuous passage of light from wave-like behavior to particle-like action. Another group at CNRS at the University of Nice performed Wheeler's experiment using pairs of entangled photons. One photon is tested in an interferometer and is detected, while the other photon lets the researchers determine whether wave, particle, or some sort of in-between behavior has occurred. Their experimental setup lets the photon morph continuously from wave to particle.
A non-invasive imaging approach that can see through biological tissues and other opaque layers is demonstrated in this week's Nature. Diffuse opaque layers such as skin, paper, and ground glass can hide objects behind them by causing light passing through these materials to scatter in different directions. But a new technique can sort randomly scattered light from light that hasn't changed direction to reconstruct an image. And unlike many methods, it doesn't require a detector to be placed behind the layer. The approach by a team from the Netherlands and Italy uses a laser beam to illuminate an opaque diffuser. A computer records the amount of fluorescent light returned by a tiny object hidden behind the diffuser. A computer program unscrambles the information by initially guessing the missing information and then by testing and refining the guess. The technique was used to successfully unscramble light signals and retrieve detailed images of human cell-sized fluorescent objects hidden 6 millimeters behind scattering layers and of a complex biological sample enclosed between two opaque screens. The team expects their work to lead to new microscopy methods capable of forming razor-sharp images in a strongly scattering environment, which would be useful in nanotechnology. They also dream of extending it to examine objects under the human skin, but for now the method remains too slow.
Light can be coaxed to tie itself into knots, but under the right conditions, the knot tying can happen spontaneously, new research suggests. Unlike previous research that produced knots in light artificially, the new work focuses on models in which knots form spontaneously, similar to how electrical cords tangle when left alone, as anyone who's ever tried to untangle last year's holiday lights can attest. However, unlike electrical cables, light does not form knots easily, but only under specific circumstances. Australian National University physicists produced a model from physics and mathematical concepts that generates optical vortices with dark cores in a bright laser beam, which tangle into knots. These knots have potential applications in quantum computing, laser beams, and advanced optics. The study appeared in scientific reports.
In business news, IPG Photonics reported double-digit profit and revenue growth for the third quarter of 2012. The fiber laser maker's profit increased 29% to $42.4 million from the same quarter a year ago. Revenue increased 21% year over year from $129 million to $156 million. Once again, the increase was attributed to growth in high-power and pulsed laser sales for materials processing applications. The company also cautioned that it will face challenges in the fourth quarter and expects revenue to be between $140 million and $150 million.
Coherent also released earnings last week and said it has acquired InLight Innovative Laser and System Technique of Germany and UK-based MyDAS lasers. It paid $18 million for the privately owned InLight, which makes low-power short pulse lasers for industrial applications, in a transaction that closed October 30th. The Hanover-based business will operate as part of Coherent's existing German business unit. A spin-out from the Photonics group at Imperial College London in the UK, MyDAS has developed a range of diode-pumped solid-state lasers, but it was its compact solid-state amplifier that works in the attosecond through the picosecond range that impressed Coherent.
And I have to tell you that after seeing it, everybody within Coherent that I talked to about it has the same opinion, that it's so clever, we should have thought of it, kind of thing. The benefit there is that we can use that amplifier in conjunction with existing light sources or existing oscillators, in addition to the oscillators that we've acquired through the InLight acquisition, to bring forth a range of new products that will address emerging markets within microelectronics.
In its earnings news, Coherent reported a profit of $63 million for the year, down from $93 million in fiscal 2011. Yearly sales were down to $769 million from $802 million year over year. Fourth quarter profit was $12.5 million, down from $31 million in 2011. The company attributed revenue declines to a delay in the delivery of core components, which meant rescheduling a customer acceptance test for one of its large excimer laser annealing systems. These systems sell for more than $7 million each.
In an update to a story we did on last week's episode of Light Matters on the IEEE milestone dedication for Eli Snitzer, the full video of the entire ceremony is now available on photonics.com/lightmatters.
Or you can click the link in this video. Speaking of links in this video, we had an inquiry from a viewer, Neil, who wondered about making links to journal articles available in Light Matters or to the websites of the relevant stories that we cover. Well, Neil and anyone else who's interested, all the stories that we cover on Light Matters are available on Photonics.com. You can click the Read the Story link in our videos here, or you can go to the website to the story and you can watch the video from Light Matters. Either way you want to do it, it works. And we thank you very much for the inquiry. And also the DOIs that go to the articles are also available online.
Yes, and we had another comment from a viewer, John Hewitt, tweeted, "Imagine how advanced our civilization could be if this, the content that we show on Light Matters, was what we got on the CNN or Fox homepage." Thanks, John, for letting us know.
Well, we would also like to hear from you. We welcome your comments and suggestions at lightmatters@photonics.com.
Thanks for watching and commenting, and we'll see you next week.